This is Jan Reha with the Career Discovery Show. In the last two segments, I've been talking about small businesses and the entrepreneurial spirit that we need to bring to the forefront again. One of those business owners, Diane Glenn with Construction Consultants of Washington, I had interviewed in the last segment, and I would like to continue that interview this segment. And Diane, what I would like to ask you, you started your new knowledge-based business here in Seattle, Washington. Yes. So could you tell us a little bit about how you got your business going, especially given that you were totally new to the Seattle marketplace?
Yes, I was new. I was new to the area, knew very few people. I did not have any business contacts. And I was also, I think the biggest challenge of that was I was not only a consultant in the industry, but I was trying to consult on a very unique issue. So I had all those in front of me as huge challenges, and made the contacts that I needed to make, and started out very small, started with a couple of clients, and then it grew from there. I got references from those clients as then my name started to spread. And so it built up eventually, but it was very challenging at first, and it was not really discouraging because I knew what I was doing, but it was maybe just every morning was a little bit of a challenge to get up and go, okay, I got to face this again and know that, you know, I'm going to get some no's, and just keep forging ahead through that.
Great. So why don't you tell us a little bit, we met when you first moved into here in my establishment where I work, and I remember those early days and how challenging it was for you. Why don't you tell us about a couple of the hurdles that you overcame and the decisions you had to make?
Yes, and we did meet when I had my office in the same building, and as time went on, things were growing, but you know, it was challenging financially too, and I had to put my resources where they were best used. And so at one point I had to make the decision, I even moved my office into my home, and just to refocus that energy and
to save what resources you have.
Absolutely.
And I think it's really important for people to know that there's nothing shameful about starting your business in the garage or out of your kitchen or you know, or out of your home. I mean, you do what you need to do.
Absolutely. Yes.
So what else did you do during those challenging times?
Well, another thing that I did is because when I was first starting, you know, financially it was tough, and I decided that I needed a little extra money, so I took a part-time job in the evenings and on weekends in a totally different industry and in retail, something I'd never done before. And it proved to be so fun. And I learned something new, another industry, and, you know, made a little extra money.
And I remember that time, and you know what has amazed me so much about you is that you don't enter these hard times, especially like going to the retail store, with a downcast attitude. You really brought forth a positive, and you enjoyed yourself, and you made friends with the people that you met and you worked with. Yes. And I think that goes so far for what you have accomplished.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So what are some of the key tactics that you employed that really have benefited you in your business?
Well, I think the main thing is to remember that a small business, I mean, you're responsible for every facet of the business, and that you can't let down on any of them. You just have to keep forging ahead, and there's things that even today I don't like to do in my business, but I have to. And so to keep that in mind, I now have employees, and I'm responsible for them. And I was thinking about that role as an employer, and not only to provide them with a paycheck when they need it and provide them with the tools to do their job right, but I also have a responsibility. They're counting on that job. I have a responsibility to keep my company viable so I can keep them employed.
And I think about whether you are a small business owner of 4 people or 20 or 2,000. I'm sure employers feel the very same thing.
I'm sure they do.
And
yes.
You know, in these difficult times when they have to let go of people, it can be very wrenching.
Yes. Yes.
And, you know, I think we need to honor that. So I remember that you really participated a great deal at the Master Builders Association here. Why don't you tell us what you did there and the kind of networking that you did, because we know that networking is vital for business.
It is very vital, and I would not have survived without that. The association, the trade association that I belong to, I participated in a lot of events. I served on committees, and even the networking part, it was just getting acquainted with the people and putting the name out, letting them know what I did. It wasn't like the hard sell kind of thing. A lot of that is just going to meeting people in the industry, being very involved in all the activities, whether it was legislative or just for the betterment of the association. So that was very important.
And I remember at one time you were involved in many as a leader in many committees as well.
Yes, I've chaired a lot of committees, and that's been a really good role for me too.
All right, one last thing I want to point out is that you really developed a niche, a specialty. Why don't you tell us just briefly about that niche?
Okay. When I first started, I was doing all sorts of different inspections, and I still do, but I specialize in building enclosures. And that was there was a real need there. I found that niche, and I really enjoyed that. So I made that my specialty, and it is today, and I focus on that, and it's helped really focus my company in general. And there's a lot of different areas that I do, a lot of different inspection types that I do, but that building enclosure specialty has created that additional avenue, and it's been really, really good for my company.
I think that's one very important thing that we discover, those of us who have our own businesses, that having a niche is extremely important, and that constantly marketing to our niche is what keeps us vital and alive. And like you said, it is soft, and it's more probably training and education when you're selling knowledge.
Yes, yes.
So this is Jan Reha with the Career Discovery Show. In the final segment, I'm going to be speaking to Diane about where she's going to be heading her company in the future. So we will be talking, and keep in touch.